Have you ever had the moment someone asks you for something? Small favor, a bit of your time, a change in your plans, maybe even something you didn't expect at all. And inside, something very clear happens. Every part of you wants to say no, but what comes out is different. Sure, no problem. And in the split second, it's done. We already agreed. Then later, maybe minutes, maybe hours, the feeling shows up, that quiet heaviness, that tiredness, the irritation. And that one question you keep coming back to, why did I say yes again? If it sounds familiar, you're not alone. Because for a lot of people, saying no isn't just hard, it feels almost impossible. And interestingly, it has very little to do with manners of kindness. It's something much deeper, something psychological, something emotional, something tied to how we see ourselves. So instead of treating it like a bad habit, let's try to understand it, not to fix it immediately, but to actually see what's going on underneath. The first reason is the fear of being rejected. At the core of this is something very human, the fear of rejection. Most of us learned early on, even without anyone directly telling us, that being accepted is safer than being honest. That if people like us, things go smoothly. But if they don't, something feels off, unsafe, uncomfortable. So when we say no, it doesn't feel like a simple response. It feels like we're risking connection. Even if the situation is small, the emotional system reacts like something bigger is at stake. So we choose the safer option. We say yes, even when we don't mean it. The next reason is we were taught that no is wrong. A lot of this starts way earlier than we realize. When we were younger, many of us were rewarded for being easy, helpful, agreeable. Good job. You're so nice. You're very helpful. And slowly, without noticing it, we learned something, that being good means saying yes. So no starts to feel like something negative, something rude, something selfish. Even if logically we know that it's not true, emotionally it still feels uncomfortable. The next reason is the pressure to be a good person. Then there's something more internal, the identity we build, the reliable one, the kind one, the one people can always count on. At some point, that becomes a part of who we think we are. And saying no feels like breaking that identity. Like we're not being who we are supposed to be anymore. So we say yes just to keep that image intact, even if it drains us. The reason number 4 is feeling responsible for other people's emotion. Other reason is empathy. But sometimes empathy becomes heavy because we don't just understand other people's feeling. We start carrying them. We imagine their disappointment, their reaction, their discomfort. And somewhere inside we think it's easier if I feel uncomfortable than if they do. So we project their emotions at the cost of our own, again and again, until we start feeling exhausted without knowing why. The reason number 5 is when self-worth gets involved. For some people, this goes even deeper. Saying yes becomes connected to worth, to feeling needed, useful, important. And saying no starts to feel like, if I don't help, maybe I don't matter. So boundaries doesn't just feel uncomfortable, they feel threatening. Like we're losing something essential about ourselves. Number 6 is fear of what might happen. And then there's the imagination. Sometimes we don't say no because of what might happen next. Even if it's not real, we imagine rejection, conflict, losing relationships, creating tension, So the mind builds a story. If I say no, something bad will happen. And just like that, fear becomes stronger than reality. Now let's talk about the cost of always saying yes. Here's the part most people don't notice at first. Saying yes all the time doesn't just affect your schedule, it affects you. Over time, it leads to feeling constantly tired, quiet resentment building up, losing touch with what you actually want, feeling guilty no matter what you do. The relationships that slowly feels unbalanced. And maybe the most dangerous part, you start forgetting where your limits even are. Let's talk about a different way to look at no. What if no isn't rejection? What if it's just honesty? Because every time you say yes to someone or something that you don't want, you're also saying no to yourself, to your time, to your energy, your peace. So maybe no isn't something negative. Maybe it's just clarity, a way of saying, this is where I end and someone else begins. What can actually help? So, what do we do with all of this? Not big dramatic changes, just small shifts. The first, don't answer immediately. Most people don't actually choose their yes, they react. So pause. Even a simple sentence helps. Like, let me think about it. That small moment of space changes everything. Because suddenly, you're not reacting anymore. You're choosing. Number two, accept that not everyone will be happy. This is the big one. No matter how kind you are, someone somewhere won't be happy with your boundaries. And that's normal. It doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It just means you're human. Number three, separate kindness from self-sacrifice. Being kind doesn't mean disappearing. Helping others shouldn't require abandoning yourself. If something consistently drains you, it's worth questioning, is it kindness or self-neglect? Number four is start small. You don't need to become assertive overnight. Start with small no's. Things that don't feel overwhelming. Because confidence doesn't come before action, it comes from it. Maybe the real problem was never saying no. Maybe the real problem is how disconnect we've become from what we actually feel. Because a lot of the time, we already know the answer. We just don't trust it. But every honest no brings you a little closer to yourself, and every forced yes moves you a little further away. So maybe this isn't really about learning how to refuse others. Maybe it's about learning how to stop refusing yourself. Because at the end of the day, a meaningful life isn't built on how many people you make happy. It's built on how honest you were with yourself while doing it. See you in the next episode.